The starving silence. The sun never rested on planet Vilneri. It was always hot, always dry. The ground was cracked. The air was still. There were no birds, no wind, and no sound, just silence. In the small alien village of Terra, silence meant danger. It meant the crops had died again. It meant the water machines were still broken. It meant the children were hungry. Very hungry. Elder Soren, the oldest in the village, stood on the high cliff near the edge. His blue skin was thin like paper. His long fingers held a metal staff, once bright silver, now dull from years of sandstorms. He looked up at the sky, where the stars were hidden behind yellow clouds. They promised help, he whispered. But no ship comes. Behind him, the villagers waited near the last food tank. Only 10 small root plants remained. 50 mouths to feed? That meant the children would go without again. A small girl, Selna, no older than 12 cycles, sat beside her little brother. She broke her own food piece in half and gave him the larger part. She smiled, but her eyes were tired. Her ribs showed through her skin. Eat slowly, she said. Make it last. Suddenly, boom. The sky cracked open with fire. A streak of silver and smoke tore across the sky and crashed. Just outside the village walls, dust rose. The ground shook. The villagers screamed. Another machine falling from the sky? Someone asked. Is it dangerous? No, it's just broken metal. But Elder Soren raised his hand. We will check. Carefully. They sent 2 guards, both thin and weak, to scout the crash. Selna followed behind, hidden between rocks. When they reached the crash site, they saw the wreck of a small human escape pod. Its metal body was bent and black. Smoke still hissed from its side. Then. The hatch opened, and out came a human boy. His hair was dark, face covered in ash. His clothes were torn. His hand held a small bag made of cloth and wires. He looked around, breathing hard. Then he fell, right there in the dust, like a puppet whose strings were cut. The guards looked at each other. It's just a child. A human child, one said. I thought they were bigger. He's just bones and dust. Leave him, said the other. He's already dying. But Selna stepped forward, her eyes wide. No, she whispered. We can't leave him. Selna, go back. But she ran forward anyway, knelt beside the boy, and touched his hand. It was cold. Too cold. She grabbed her water pouch and poured a few drops on his lips. He moved, just a little. His eyes opened, barely. He looked into her alien face and didn't scream. He didn't speak. He just blinked and gave a weak smile. Then he passed out. Again, Selna stood. We have to bring him back, please. The guards argued, but in the end, they helped. Together, they carried the strange human boy to the edge of the village. When they arrived, Elder Soren looked at the boy and frowned. Another mouth to feed, he said, and not one of us. But he fell from the sky, Selna said. Maybe. He's part of the help you waited for. The elder looked up again. Help doesn't come from the sky in broken machines. Still, he allowed the boy to rest in the old healing hut. They had no medicine, but they gave him shade and a blanket. Selna sat beside him all night, watching his chest rise and fall. She didn't know his name. She didn't know why he came. But something inside her said, this boy would change everything. And in the silence of that night, as the wind began to blow for the first time in weeks, a strange, soft noise came from the bag the boy had carried. A small blinking light, a sound like a soft hum. Something inside was not dead. Something inside was waiting. Asterisk the human with empty hands. Human boy didn't wake for 2 full days. Selna brought him water and soft roots every morning. He didn't eat much, just sipped and coughed. The other villagers whispered. They didn't trust him. He looked weak. He was just a child. And worst of all, he had nothing. He can't help us, said one old farmer. He brings no food, no tools, no ship. Just trash in that bag, another said. But Selna didn't listen. She waited beside him every hour. On the third day, the boy opened his eyes. His voice was dry. Where am I? You're safe, Selna said softly. You crashed near our village. You're in Velnari. He blinked. His lips cracked. Water? She held out her pouch. He drank slowly, then whispered, Thank you. After a few minutes, he sat up. His body shook, but his eyes were sharp now. He looked around, then saw his bag in the corner. He crawled over and grabbed it like it was gold. What's in there? Selna asked. He unzipped it. Inside was junk, wires, metal pieces, broken lenses, tiny tools, batteries, old circuit boards. A cracked solar panel. Nothing valuable. Selna stared. That's it? The boy smiled weakly. This is everything. Selna didn't understand. He looked at her with serious eyes. I'm Leo. She nodded. I'm Selna. You're very far from Earth, Leo. I know, he said, rubbing his head. My escape pod broke from my transport ship. No one's coming for me. She stayed quiet, then asked, Why do you carry trash? Leo looked at her. Because trash is all I've ever had. Later that day, the village elders allowed Leo to speak. He stood in the center, surrounded by tired faces, thin bodies, and hopeless eyes. I saw your land, he said. No crops, Ned groaned. You're out of water. Yes, Elder Soren said. You understand our suffering. Leo nodded. I can fix it. Laughter filled the air. Even Soren smiled sadly. Soren said, With no machines, no. Food? No ship? Leo held up a small round device patched with tape. With this, and some of your trash. You are joking, a hunter said. We are not fools. Leo's voice didn't shake. I'm not a soldier. I'm not rich, but I build things. I survive with broken stuff. I know how to make life from leftovers. Explain, Soren said. Curious now. Leo looked around. You still have sunlight. Your air still has moisture. I can build a solar condenser, a machine that pulls water from the air. I just need broken fans, mirrors, wire, scrap metal, and time. Selna's eyes lit up. Can that really work? Leo nodded. I built one smaller than this back home. It kept me alive for 2 months in a dry zone. Silence followed. Then a voice said, Even if it works, it will be too small. I'll build a bigger one, Leo said. Stronger, smarter. But you're just a boy, someone whispered. Leo looked at them all and said, A boy who survived alone. With trash. That night, he started collecting parts. The villagers didn't help at first. They watched as he searched garbage piles, pulled wires from old broken drones, and tore apart dead heaters. He worked in the heat, sweat pouring, hands dirty. Selna stayed by his side. She handed him tools, held wires. Fetched light, she asked. Why do you keep trying? Leo smiled faintly. Because no one else will, and I'm tired of people dying. When she looked into his eyes, she saw something deep. Not just kindness, not just skill. Fire. Leo didn't carry weapons. He carried hope. And from a pile of trash, he began to build a miracle. Asterisk. The plan no one believed for days. The sound of metal hitting metal echoed across the village. Clink, tap, buzz. Leo's small hands worked fast, but his eyes worked faster. He studied each broken piece of junk like it was treasure. The villagers watched from a distance. Some laughed. Others shook their heads. He's just playing. He's too young. He's wasting our last wire. Elder Soren visited once, staring at the growing machine of pipes, mirrors, and fan blades. He said nothing, only watched. Then left, only Sona stayed. She held parts when Leo asked, helped him lift panels, cleaned sand from sensitive circuits. Her fingers got dirty, but she didn't care. For the first time in weeks, she saw someone fighting, not with weapons, but with wits. One morning, as the machine started to take shape, Selna asked, "What is it really?" Leo wiped sweat from his forehead. "It's called a solar condenser. It pulls water from the air, using heat and pressure. But there's no water in our air." He shook his head. "You're wrong. There's always some. Your people just didn't know where to look. But I've lived in worse. Earth has deserts too." She stared at the strange design. It looked like a broken tower made from old fans, a car battery, kitchen trays, and parts from a shattered drone. "It doesn't look like a machine," Selna whispered. Leo smiled. "It doesn't have to look right. It just has to work." That night, Soren gathered the council. "This boy is building a toy," one elder said. "He wastes energy in metal. It gives the children false hope." But Soren raised his hand. "Let him finish. We have nothing to lose, except silence." Then came the third storm. Hot winds, sand like knives. The villagers hid in their homes. Leo stayed outside, covering his machine with old tarps, shielding the fan blades with his body. The wind ripped at his clothes. Sand cut his arms. He didn't stop. Selna screamed from the doorway, "Come inside." But Leo shouted back, "If this blows away, you'll have nothing." He tied the frame with cables, used rocks to hold it down. His lips cracked. His eyes burned. By morning, he had saved it, but he couldn't walk. His legs collapsed as the wind calmed. Selna rushed to him. "You're hurt." "I'm fine," he said, coughing dust. "Check the solar panel." She did. It was cracked, but still working. That evening, the villagers came forward for the first time. A group of young ones brought more scrap. An old woman offered an ancient copper plate. Soren himself brought a broken energy cell and laid it at Leo's feet. "You were not sent by the council," he said softly. "But maybe you were sent by something greater." Leo looked up, surprised. "You believe me now?" Soren gave a small nod. "You bleed like us, work like us, but you think like something else. That is why they fear your kind." Leo turned back to the machine. "Then I'll give you a reason to believe." That night, Leo finished connecting the main coil. He inserted the energy cell. He tightened the last screw with shaking fingers. He looked at Selna. "Tomorrow morning, we test." She smiled nervously. "What if it fails?" Leo whispered. "Then I try again, until I get it right." And as stars returned to the dusty sky, the villagers slept for the first time, not with fear, but with curiosity, because the boy with empty hands now held the weight of their future. The night of no power. The sun was just a red line behind the hills when the village gathered. Leo stood beside the strange machine, now standing taller than him. Its parts shimmered metal plates from old kitchens, mirror shards from broken helmets, plastic piping from water tanks, even fan blades from a fallen sky drone, all held together by wire, bolts, and stubborn belief. DCLNA brought the last part, a cracked alien capacitor, taken from a rusted solar glider. "This will work," she said, pressing it into his hand. Leo smiled. "Let's make it breathe." He bent down, hands steady, wires connected. The sun hit the mirrors. The fan turned once. The coil buzzed. Then nothing. Silence. Not even a hum. Leo checked the battery. He twisted the wires again. Still nothing. A small crowd of villagers stood nearby, watching quietly. Then the whisper started. It doesn't work. Another failure. We gave him everything for this? Selna looked at Leo. His face had changed. The fire in his eyes was gone. He didn't speak, didn't blink, just stared at the dead machine. He stood, turned, and walked away. Alone. He sat on the rocks near the crash site, eyes staring at the dark sky. His hands were still black with grease. He didn't wipe them. Selna followed him after some time. Everyone's going home, she said. They think it's over. Leo didn't move. I tried, he said quietly. I really thought I could save them. You almost did. Almost doesn't save a child from starving. The wind blew gently. Leo closed his eyes. I thought I was strong, he whispered. But maybe I'm just a kid with a bag of trash. Selna sat beside him. You were strong enough to try when no one else did. He looked down. But it wasn't enough. She reached into her pouch and pulled out a small round token, a solar chip from her family's broken lantern. My mother kept this. Said it once lit up our whole house. Take it. Leo blinked. It's useless. It's too small. It's still energy, she said. Maybe. The machine doesn't need more power. Maybe it needs the right kind. Leo stared at the chip. Then he jumped to his feet. Wait, what if that's it? Selna stood too. What? He grabbed the chip and ran to the machine. His hands moved like lightning. He removed the cracked cell and slid in the solar chip. A soft blue light blinked once. Then again, then stayed on. The fan began to spin. Ah! Faint hiss came from the center pipe. Villagers peeked out of their homes. What's that sound? Leo smiled slowly. It's breathing. But then the sound stopped. Leo's smile vanished. He ran back, hands on the panels. No power. Again. Selna looked at the blinking light. The battery's too weak, she said. Leo sighed. I need a stronger core. But the only one is in the old rover wreck. Selna's eyes widened. That's outside the ridge. Past the bone cliffs. Leo nodded. I'll go. At night? It's our last chance. Without waiting, Leo grabbed a cloth sack and sprinted into the dark. Selna followed him, her heart pounding. You're going to get yourself killed. But he didn't stop. His feet kicked up dust as he moved past the edge of the village, toward the broken land where machines rusted and creatures hunted. The bone cliffs rose like jagged teeth under moonlight. Dead machines lay scattered, half buried in sand, and deep among them, a single wrecked rover, its power cells still glowing faintly. But something else was there, two eyes watching. Breath, low and heavy. Leo approached slowly. He knew. It wasn't just broken metal. He had to face. It was something alive. And he had no weapons. Just a bag and a plan. Asterisk. When the first drop fell, the air near the bone cliffs was sharp, dry like fire, quiet like a grave. Leo crouched behind a metal husk, staring at the broken exploration rover just 30 steps away. Its glowing core flickered faintly in the dust, half buried in rust and twisted metal. But it wasn't alone. On top of the rover sat a creature. It was long, lean and silent, pale skin stretched over sharp bones. Its eyes glowed green. A desert predator, a shade vorn, built for the silence, bred to kill without sound. Leo knew one move could mean death, but so would failure. He reached into his bag slowly, pulling out a small light, bright and flashing. He clicked it once and threw it far behind the rover. The predator twitched. Then turned. It leapt from the wreckage, chasing the blinking light like a moth to flame. Leo ran. His feet slammed into the sand. He jumped onto the rover. His fingers dug into bolts. The core was stuck. He pulled. It groaned. The predator let out a low growl behind him. Leo yanked with all his strength. Pop. The core came loose. He fell back into the sand hard. The creature roared, but Leo didn't wait. He ran, clutching the power cell tight against his chest. By the time he reached the village, the sky was turning purple with dawn. Selna screamed when she saw him bleeding, panting, eyes wild. "I got it," he gasped. He fell to his knees beside the machine and opened the hatch. The crowd gathered in silence. Leo inserted the power. Cell. He turned the dial. Nothing. SELNA. Reached for his hand. Then dash click. A low. Plum. The fan blades spun. Heat panels lit up. The condenser whined like a living thing. And then drip. One drop of water fell into the clear tank. The villagers leaned in. Another drop. Then another. The drips turned into a small stream. Clear, cold, real. Selna let out a sound between a laugh and a cry. She held her hands under the stream and let the water run through her fingers. "It's real," she whispered. "You did it." Leo smiled, just barely. Then he fainted. He woke in the healing hut. Selna sat beside him, holding a full cup of water. "Real water. You slept for 2 days," she whispered. "Is it still running?" He asked, voice hoarse. She nodded. "We filled 2 tanks. The people are drinking again, washing, cooking." He sat up slowly. Outside, voices were laughing. Children were splashing. Life had returned. And all around the machine, villagers were adding more panels, more mirrors, building second and third copies. Soren entered the hut and placed his hand gently on Leo's shoulder. "You didn't just give us water," he said. "You gave us belief." Leo looked out the window at the machine still humming in the sunlight. "I only used what was already here," he whispered. The elder smiled. "But only you saw what it could become." Later that evening, Leo stood by the machine. Selna brought him a gift, something small and wrapped in cloth. He opened it. Inside was a necklace, a pendant made from the very first drop of water, sealed inside clear resin. She said, "So you remember what one drop can do." Leo nodded slowly, and as the sun set behind the dunes, the machine breathed steady, strong. Not made by scientists. Not made by soldiers. Made by a boy with a bag of trash. And a heart that didn't quit. The seeds of a new future. Village of Terra had changed. What once was silent and dry was now alive with sound water flowing, laughter echoing, voices singing. Children ran barefoot through puddles. Elders washed their hands in clean bowls. Families cooked with steam instead of dust. And at the center of it all stood the machine, Leo's strange tall tower built from garbage and hope. It didn't look perfect. It rattled. It buzzed. It groaned in the wind, but it worked. Every single day. Leo stood on the same high cliff where Elder Soren once watched the skies in silence. Now Soren stood beside him, smiling. "Do you know what the council sent us after your crash?" The elder asked. Leo shook his head. 2 weeks after your arrival, a Galactic aid ship landed. They brought water tanks, filters, and boxes of food. Leo blinked. "That's good, right?" Soren smiled. "We thanked them politely. Then we showed them your machine." The old man laughed. They were speechless. One of them said, "This design shouldn't work." "But it does." Leo chuckled softly. "It's not about perfect designs. It's about seeing value where others see trash." Below them, the village was now building 6 more condensers. And near the fields, young aliens placed seeds into the ground seeds once thought worthless. But now, with water, they might grow. Selna walked up with a scroll in her hand. "This just came in," she said. "From the Academy of Galactic Sciences." Leo took it, unrolled it. read the message, then laughed. What is it? Soren asked. They want me to teach, Leo said. To explain how I did it. Will you? Leo looked down at the village, then at his hands, still marked with small scars and burns from weeks of building. No, he said. Selna's smile faded. Why not? Because I don't want to. Talk about it in some glass building, Leo said. I want to do more. Soren raised a brow. What do you mean? Leo turned toward the desert beyond the cliffs. There are more villages, right? More people like you, waiting for help that may never come. The elder nodded slowly. I have tools, Leo said. And now I have proof. That night, they held a celebration. Aliens and the human boy danced under string lights, powered by solar scraps. Children splashed in clean water. The elders shared warm souped-out SELNA, handed Leo a second pendant, made from the first green leaf that sprouted in their new garden. This is for your next journey, she said. Leo held both pendants close. One drop of water, one leaf. One future. In the morning, Leo packed his bag, again same old bag, but now with new parts, new tools, and new courage. As he walked toward the next village, a group of young aliens followed behind, carrying wires and scrap metal on their backs. Builders, XERS, believers, asterisk.